It began subtly, almost imperceptibly, like a room dimming with the setting sun, slow enough that you don't notice until everything feels wrong. At first, it was just small lapses in memory, misplaced objects, drawers she didn't remember opening, lights turned on despite vividly remembering turning them off. She blamed stress, long hours spent alone in her apartment, the low hum of the refrigerator, the distant sounds of the city that made her feel more isolated than comforted. But over time, the absences grew longer, stranger. She'd wake up in different rooms than where she had fallen asleep, sometimes lying on the floor of the living room when she knew she had gone to bed hours earlier. Once, she woke to find her hand pressed flat against the cold glass of the bedroom window, staring out into the alley below, as if someone or something had been watching her. Her phone became the first witness. Videos she didn't remember taking began to appear in her gallery. Silent, shaky footage of her apartment at night. The camera was always focused on corners, doorways, mirrors. In one, she sat perfectly still on the edge of her bed, head tilted at an unnatural angle, eyes locked on something just beyond the camera's view. Her expression was wrong, not vacant or confused, but eerily composed, as if something wearing her face was practicing how to be human. It wasn't long before she noticed words left behind, messages she didn't remember writing. Condensation on the bathroom mirror after a shower, scratched faintly into the condensation on the window pane. I like it here. Then, don't fight me. Always short, always unnervingly calm, as though whoever wrote them had all the time in the world. By the time she realized she was no longer alone in her own mind, it was too late to pretend it wasn't real. The nights grew unstable. Sleep became an open door, through which something entered, using her body like a borrowed coat. She'd wake to find bruises on her arms, dirt under her fingernails, and smear of ash along her jawline, as though something had marked her in passing. Desperate for answers, she began filming herself at night, placing her phone across the room with the hope of catching something, anything concrete. What she saw the next morning was worse than she imagined. At exactly 3:12 a.m., her body sat bolt upright, stiff and certain. She rose without hesitation, moving with strange deliberation into the living room, where she stood facing the camera for nearly 20 minutes without blinking. A slow, calculated smile stretched across her face. Then she tilted her head slightly, mouthed something silently, and walked out of frame. Panicked, she showed the footage to a friend, desperate for validation. But on their screen, the video was empty. It showed nothing but an empty room. No movement, no sound. The chair where she had sat remained untouched. No smile, no motion, as if whatever had been there was meant only for her. She tried everything to stay awake, drenching herself in caffeine, flooding the apartment with light, clutching onto consciousness like a lifeline. But even then, there were gaps. She'd blink, and suddenly, it was morning with no memory of the hours in between. Once, she found dirt and tiny fragments of wood beneath her fingernails, as though she had been digging somewhere. Her palms were raw, skin cracked, as though she had clawed her way through something unforgiving. The turning point came one morning when her landlord called to inform her that other tenants had heard laughter, deep, unsettling laughter echoing through the hallway in the dead of night. She lived alone. She hadn't left her apartment. When she checked her door, she found it unlocked, despite remembering clearly bolting it before bed. Something had walked in or out, and it had done so without her permission. That night, she set up every light she could, surrounded herself with mirrors, and left cameras running in every room. At 3 a.m., a pressure began to build in her chest, like a weight pressing down from the inside. Her vision blurred, the edges of the room stretched and pulsed. At 3:12, her thoughts scattered. Something shifted. The world snapped. At sunrise, she found herself lying face down on the kitchen floor. Every camera had shut off. Her phone screen was cracked, dead. Her laptop refused to power on. The apartment was exactly as she left it, except for one thing. A long, thin message carved into the hallway wall, deep enough to leave a scar. "We're one now." Panic surged as she turned to look at the empty room, and then it hit her. She wasn't alone anymore. Her body jerked to life on its own, standing before her, a perfect replica of her. "I've been waiting for you to realize," it whispered, its lips curving into her smile.